Hi, I'm Scout Wilkins, and I'm up here camping in the woods tonight and shooting a few videos while I'm here. You can see my little camp in the background behind me. I'm a guide, a wilderness guide, and I get a lot of time wandering around in the woods by myself and with other people. And I spend a lot of that time musing about words and language, and my mind just wanders around in thinking about the language we use and how it can either help or get in the way of actual communication. Because in the business I'm in, communication is critical, that people understand when I offer guidance or advice about something, that they understand what I'm saying and why I'm saying it, and it can be very important sometimes. I'm also a coach, and the language I use when I'm working with somebody, when they're wide open and we're working on deep stuff, is also extremely important. And so that's why I was fascinated when I learned neuro-linguistic programming, because that helps you work with the images that different words create in your mind. And the thing to understand is that the image that's created in your mind from a certain word is different than the image that's created in my mind. The images we create are tied to our experiences of the word. And I have a story I'd like to tell you about that to illustrate what I'm talking about, because I guess my main goal with this little video is to help you begin to think about how other people might be receiving your words, or even more to the point, I think where it gets really important is when you actually really take into your body that what you mean when you say a word is not the same thing as that other person means when they say it. And the gift of this is it helps you not take it personally, which keeps the communication open and keeps the interaction flowing. Taking things personally shuts things down right away. So this is a tool to help you keep from taking things personally. It's just an illustration, really. It's not the tool is to be aware. The tool is just to be aware that what you think or what you mean when you use that word is different than what that other person means. And so you need to ask. You need to check in. This is what I heard you say when you said that. When you use that word, this is what I think you meant. Is that right? And odds are they're going to say, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you asked," because no, that's not what I meant. So here's the story. It was it can be life-threatening. And not just when you're out hiking on a dangerous place. It can be life-threatening in your ordinary day-to-day life. And a misunderstanding about a word almost did me in. I almost died. And the word was tired. The word was tired. The other word was anemia. So here's the story, is that it was about 2002, that I, through a sequence of events, became extraordinarily anemic. I was already anemic because I was perimenopausal. I was losing a lot of blood every month. But then I had the amalgam fillings in my teeth replaced by a dentist who I trusted for reasons that I did not have any business trusting this person, but I did. I put effectively my life in her hands. And she took out the mercury-laden amalgam without any protection for my system. So I became mercury poisoned, and it had very immediate consequences on my red blood cells, which were already compromised. So I went into a big crash, and very anemic without realizing it. And the reason I didn't realize it is because of the word tired. When I was a kid, I was born in 1955, and I grew up a proud card-carrying member of the Geritol generation, right? The ads we listened to were for iron poor, tired blood. If you're anemic, you have iron poor, tired blood, you should take Geritol. And so the link was made that if you're anemic, you're tired, okay? Well, there was another link. I think I'll tell that later in this story. What happened for me was I never identified with tired. Never thought of myself as tired. It is just, it's not part of my identity. It just isn't. I also grew up in a generation of women who made it happen. We made it happen and just didn't think about it. We didn't get tired. We got a lot of other things, but we didn't get tired. It's not me. I'm the one that holds it all together. So that was a pretty bad combination. And what actually happened, the way I would have described, the way I did describe to myself or to other people, I couldn't get out of bed. But the way I described that is I had just lost my will to live. I'd lost my ability to get up. I never once thought of myself as tired. Never once considered any possibility of anemia being the problem. Luckily, my best friend came to visit. She took one look at me and what I was doing and that I was white as a sheet, and she gathered me up and took me up to a hematologist who immediately, tested my blood and said, "Oh my God, I don't know how you walked in here." One way that there are many ways. I learned a lot about iron in the blood over the next few years. But one of the things I learned is that one measurement is the ferritin level, and the medium or mean level, whatever it is 247. And when I walked in that door, my ferritin level was 3. They said, "I don't know how you walked in here." So I spent the next, I think 2 years rebuilding my iron, getting the mercury out of my system, doing all the things I needed to do. But the main part of the story is that the word that was associated with anemia was not available to me as an idea because it was tied to the idea of tired. And the idea of tired did not exist in my identity. It was such an interesting process to go through. It taught me at such a profound level that we assign meanings to words, and our meanings are different than other people's meanings. So I hope that this little story can help you realize that there are words floating around your system that maybe you're not using, maybe you're not identifying with when they could be true, that there are words that other people will use that will trigger you, and it's nothing that they meant. They did not mean. The words that people use that trigger you, those triggers are yours. They're attached to the meaning that you have assigned to the word. And the more completely you can really step into owning that in your body. And so when you get triggered, just hold a space there, hold a gap to say, okay, maybe that person didn't mean what I'm jumping to the conclusion that they meant. Maybe I'll ask, I'll check in. It's such a good thing. It will save relationships. It might save lives. Thanks.